Hey, what's going on? Wanted to jump on here, catch up with everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. And I am in a very interesting place right now. I am literally between two ships. So there's a ship here and there's a ship behind me, aka a yacht, whatever. So come on in, we'll have a little discussion. Most of you know that we had the debate last night. We'll talk a little bit about that. And also, we'll take your comments, questions, whatever. If you want to be engaged, I know it's earlier. I did not do a live this past Sunday, so I figured while I'm putting in a little work on the ship here, that we can have a conversation if you feel so inclined. You have to forgive me. I'm on top of a ladder, and again, I'm in between two rather large ships. So, yeah, talking about Admiralty Maritime, right? All right. So, give people a little bit of time to get on in here. Let's see if we get some good participation today. But I figured again, since I didn't go live Sunday, that we'll go live now. I'll make up for not being there Sunday. Let's see here. So let somebody else know that we are live right now. See if I can share this here. Come on in. Here. Should be able to share. Hey, how you doing? A6, welcome. Thank you for being here. Just was going to do just a little discussion, whatever. If somebody had any questions about some of the content from last night at our debate or any other topic that they want to discuss. I failed to go live on my Sunday slot, so I said I'll just do it today. I'm in between two ships. We're at the shipyard right now, patching holes. Talk about Admiralty Maritime, right? I'm in the thick of it right now. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right on the lakefront. Hopefully, you can hear me good. If you will, maybe A6 share this to maybe the feed over at the Telegram, and anybody can, that is not working or whatever that wants to have a discussion, or even ask any questions, feel free, come on over. So I'll be here for, I got to put in about another hour until about 1 o'clock Central Standard Time here. So I figure we could just have a chat, talk some things over. If clarity needs to be made, that's fine too. Very interesting, this locale, this location I'm at right now, being on the water, dealing with yachts and ships and stuff like that. Whole different law, isn't it? Admiralty Maritime law, law of the seas, and all that kind of thing. Very interesting. It's like a whole different world. So I look forward to learning. I look forward to learning some things about maritime law. Obviously, there are a lot of correlations, a lot of word art used in the birthing process. Um, yeah, used in the birthing process, like doctor, and we're very familiar with that. And to kind of segue into conversations from yesterday at the debate over at A6 Grind Times channel. Um, my main point, I guess, was there's been a lot of villainization of the system, a lot of based on a lot of misunderstandings, and if we would just kind of see things from a different perspective for just a moment, and not allow ourselves to be kind of towed along in misinformation and disinformation, um, we would come to a deeper understanding of the system and how it works. Some people were telling me yesterday, just to state whether or not you're an American national or whatever, so that my opponent would know what platform I'm coming from, or who I really am, or whatever. And I was saying, what I understand what you're trying to accomplish, but it doesn't change the fact, um, that there is misinformation and disinformation that is causing and perpetrating injuries upon the people. And so I just wanted to clarify that. That's what I use my platform to do, is to clarify that the system is not inherently evil. For the system is not is not an animate object. The system depends upon us to energize it. It depends upon the politicians to represent it. It does not have its own will. And so the system is not inherently evil. But alas, it is the men and women behind the system that create the issues and problems, uh, and deceive and, misrepresent. Okay, that's my, I guess, foundational argument. Um, and so a lot of times yesterday, my opponent was stating that, well, he brought in a lot of an emotional argument pertaining to children, and I don't want my children to be subject, or that type of sentiment. Well, I don't want mine to be subject either to anything that can be perceived as not good for them. But I contend that it's not the system that's not good for you. The system has been around for over 200 years. People have made their millions, hundreds, hundredaires, thousandaires, and millionaires have been made in this same system. So again, I don't find that the system is inherently evil. I think when we get a greater understanding of the functionality of the system, and when we remove the worn out and haggard ideology that race is per se our problem, and we remain divided by race. When we get past that, I think we'll have that utopia, and we'll realize that we work stronger together, and that when we allow uber powerful men and women to lord over us, or to manipulate through ignorance, when we stop that, I think we'll find that we stop a lot of the issues and problems that we actually have and are experiencing, our children included. And so that's why I have taken on the name KnowledgeWell Media, being a well of knowledge, where people can come and disseminate through this information and choose what is truth based on the facts that are presented. And so that's what we do here. That's what we do here. So my argument was based upon that. It's based upon that. I don't think it does us any good to sit around and just vilify the system. The system is going to continue until it doesn't, and you're going to participate in it willingly or unwillingly, but you're still going to participate in it. It doesn't matter what we say here. When it comes right down to it, most of us drive our cars. Whether you want to call it traveling, you can call it whatever you want. We've been making that argument for quite a long time, and we see it's fruitless. Okay, it doesn't matter how we feel about driving versus traveling, but when you try to explain this to the officers, they're already starting to roll their eyes because they've heard it before. Well, take it to court, argue with the judge, don't argue with me. And that's basically them letting us know that I'm not accepting what you're saying. They understand that you believe what you're saying, okay, and they don't want to per se step on your right, your freedom of expression. Okay, so they'll tell you, yeah, okay, I understand that's what you believe, but that is not, in fact, the truth. And the truth that they're talking about is the statutes, codes, and ordinances. Those are called positive laws. Okay, those are called positive laws. Positive laws are the enactments of a duly authorized legislature, meaning that is whatever that state legislature has created Those are positive laws. Those are their enactments. Remember, the states are sovereign. Um, you know, they have their own jurisdiction. They have their own authority. Their own power. All right. So their law, they have the right to create their own laws. That sovereign state has a right to create their own laws. The presumption, which most all legal contrivances and constructions, are legal presumptions. You are, well, think about it. You are in a legal system. That's what it is. The American jurisprudence. You're in a legal system. It's a type of system. You are not in a, let's say, the opposite or antithesis would be a natural system. You're not in a natural system. Okay, so to perceive or to construe the authority of the state, the police powers, and everything else as incorrect in application to yourself, to perceive it that way is to misunderstand what is truly going on. This is a legal system. Okay. This has nothing to do, we're not even arguing, they're not arguing your humanity, because it's not that. This is an implied agreement, aka a contract. All right. It's called a social contract or compact. That's what rules the day in these systems. You may say, well, this it's fictitious. Yes, it's fictitious. Yes. Read William Blackstone's dissertation or uh, expression, I'll say, on the rights of persons. Read that. They know what they made. They know what they created. They know that they created artificial persons, legal entities, commercial entities, and what have you. They know that they've created that. They're not mistaken about that, and they state why they did it. It's to provide a type of legal immortality for the jural society, the state, or whatever. Now, why? What is the purpose of having a state? What were the founders? What was the idea? The idea was to keep rights afoot, so that if you passed away, your rights would basically devolve or uh, be transferred through your name all the way down into your family. You wouldn't lose the inheritance, the rights and things that you have. That's why they created these artificial persons, aka states, aka jural societies. They have a type of legal immortality. They outlive you. That's why your last name is your last name. The family name is your family name, because it's there. It can outlive you. That's why you were given a legal name. Okay, you were born with a given name and family name, but they used that to create a legal name. Okay, that's what's going on. That's the purpose of legal entities, commercial entities, and what have you. If you create a corporation yourself, okay, if you create a corporation yourself, the reason you are doing that is number one, to create an entity separate from yourself to limit your liabilities. Okay, that's number one. Number two, for profit. Number three, to have something to hand down to your through your lineage, something that has your family name on it. Okay, these are the reasons, and it's no different for the state. It's no different for the legal entities. This is what William Blackstone let us know, the great jurist William Blackstone. And so, why complain about the system? Okay, is the point. Why complain about the system? Because we don't like being pulled over by police officers who have police powers to basically safeguard and undergird commercial activity. Their job is to protect commerce. That's what their job is. That's what a police officer. Uh, the history will show you and demonstrate for you that the shipping yards where I am right now, right, the ports would be filled with these cargo ships that would have transported lots of goods via, via ship, where we're at right now. These are huge ships right here, big ships. And so what would happen is these ships would come into port, and they would be full of material, full of expensive things. If you can imagine, things that come from China or whatever, and then hit the port here, TVs and all kinds of things, right? Well, what happened? You would have thieves, okay, and people that would loot the ships, pirates and what have you, right? They would loot the ship. And so the private business owners began to hire private security teams. And these private security teams would protect the cargo of the ship from being looted. These were your original policy or police enforcement. That's how it started. That's not what we have today. Okay. But it's very similar if you think about it, because aren't you considered a type of cargo? Aren't you considered a type of good, a product? Because remember, with the removal of the gold backing from the dollar, you become the energy for the system now. Okay. You become an asset to that's what a citizen is. A citizen is an asset to the jural society, the fictitious state. Okay, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And so again, this all works. This is a mechanism that works and is time tested and has been working for over 200 something years. Does that mean that I agree with everything that happens? Does that mean that I necessarily like the way of, the government works all the time? No, it doesn't mean that. But when it comes down to it, that's why the people have what's known as the democratic process. We have the political process and we have political rights so that we can vote out, okay? Vote out things that government ends up doing that we don't particularly like. And it's our job to use that democratic process to basically get petitions signed. You want to get the most people in your community to see your viewpoint so that they will, along with others, will come and help vote something out. That's called the democratic process. Again, the system has worked for quite a long time. The system is not the issue. If anything, it's the people behind the government that go corrupt. They get greedy. That's the problem. Okay. And so if we learn what I said last night, if we learn how to actually use the system to our advantage, we'll find that not only will we become more educated, but we will have more influence and power. Okay. Now, mind you, I was on the other side for quite a long time. I was ready to rage against the machine. All government was corrupt. I was on that side. Okay, so I can empathize with the way some people are thinking. You see what I'm saying? I know, but I know also that I was also misinformed. Okay, because I would listen to overly passionate individuals who knew how to, like a good Baptist preacher, knew how to scream and hoot and holler and bust sweat and all this kind of stuff, and that was motivational. I'm watching like, oh, they're so animated. That is so awesome. That guy is so passionate. He has to know the truth. But that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. It's a good show, but I'm in it for more than just a good show. Okay, I understand. It's entertaining to see two people tear each other apart, right? But after you're done tearing each other apart, what are we going to do about the mess? That's where I'm at right now. I'm a little older, I mean, I'm 46. I'm not 25, 35 anymore, right? So I'm interested in getting things accomplished, actually, right? I don't want to scorch the earth, go after the system, try to tear it down. I'd rather say it's been here 250 years. I'm only 46. It's got me by over 200 years. I think they know a little bit more than what I know. but I can learn about it, right? And what it's taught me is to become relevant by or through education. Now I know how to push certain buttons in the system, which are not breaking the law, right? But they are loopholes that you can use to your advantage, such as trust. Rockefeller taught us, by establishing the Standard Oil Company Trust back in 1882. You have a wonderful demonstration of the power and effectivity of trust. Okay. So if you choose not to use that, okay, then that's on you. It makes absolutely no sense not to use it, though, does it? If Rockefeller introduced the trust here on our soil in 1882 and is still from the grave the most wealthy man that has ever lived, his wealth is still amassing today. Okay, his family. All right. So why would we try to reinvent the wheel? You did again. I said last night. Nobody will tell you that Rockefeller tried to basically claim that he was a sovereign citizen or anything like that, right? He never tried to tear the system down or anything like that. No, he learned to work within the system. Okay. Tesla guy, whatever his name, Elon Musk. He's not tearing down the system. He's not trying to find a way to beat out the system as far as to tear it down. No, he's working within the system. Donald Trump filed bankruptcy, I think. Somebody told me yesterday 12 times. Okay. Whatever amount of times he filed bankruptcy. The fact is that he learned to work within the system, not to tear the system down. Okay. Let me look at Killer Cuddles is saying, I got glue on my fingers. I hope I don't mess things up. U.S. is governed by corporatism. Okay, so as we spoke on yesterday, okay, and I wanted to prove this, and I will prove this on Sunday. We'll have another live, and I'm going to go in on the hot topics that we touched on at the debate. I'm not going to go in on that today, but I will have all of the receipts, and I will go in on that. I will become a little animated, and I will be very forthright and demonstration of my argument, and that is that the United States government is the corporate headquarter. It's not the corporation, it's the headquarter, aka the controlling body over the United States of America Corporation. Okay, I showed and demonstrated that. I don't even know why that had to even be argued after I demonstrated through the Articles of Confederation yesterday. But if see, first of all, you have to have a foundational knowledge as to what a corporation is, how one is formed, what makes up a corporation. Until you know that, to argue against my assertion that which one is the corporation and which one is the headquarters, it's of no avail. You first have to have that information. So that's why I kept asking them, do you know what the characteristics of a corporation are? Do you know how a corporation is formed? I understand you said that you have a corporation. I understand that you said that you own an electric company. Okay, I understand that, but that doesn't mean that you know how to form a corporation. You can hire an attorney to do it for you. Okay, so that's why I had to keep asking that. And what I was getting at is, if you understand what a corporation is, um, um, if you understand what a corporation is, then you can clearly see through the Articles of Confederation that that is a corporation. That is an act of incorporation. What they did, the 13 colonies, 13 separate colonies coming together, unionizing under one title, one name. That, by definition, is incorporation. That is how you form a corporation. Okay. And so, and then it says the style of that corporation, the title, the name of that, every entity. And I can also I will demonstrate this on Sunday, that when The only entities that can have a what's known as a name or a legal name, just like the name is the United States of America, of the name of the corporation. The only types of entities that can have their own name are separately incorporated type entities. Okay. In other words, a sole proprietorship is not a separately incorporated entity. If you create a sole proprietorship, in the eyes of the law, it sees you as that you are one and the same. You are sole. However, if you form an LLC, an S corp, a C corp, et cetera, a corporation, the law, in the eyes of the law, it sees you as the owner as separate from the entity that you created. Are you tracking? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? That's the difference. So the only type of entity that can have its own name is a separately incorporated entity. Or if you are a sole proprietorship, once again, the sole proprietor takes on your name. It's under your social security number. You see, you don't get an EIN, a separate EIN for a sole proprietorship, because in the eyes of the law, once again, it sees the sole proprietorship as you, your social security number. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Okay. And so you must know that. And so that's why when the 13 colonies, once again, came together in the union and incorporated, they had to come up with a name of the corporation. And that name, it says, is the United States of America. Okay, now my opponent was trying to say that the United States of America and the United States in DC, 10 miles square, are the same. I said kindly, it cannot be. Because the United States of America, if you know about the Articles of Confederation, which lasted from 1777 up until 1788, it said the Articles of Confederation, that's where the name, the title of that incorporation of the 13 colonies, that's where the United States of America, the name was attached. Well, the Articles of Confederation went away in 1789 when they established what's known as the United States. So how can they be one and the same? One was under the Articles of Confederation, 1777 to 1788, and the United States was born in 1789. So how can they be the same? That's too easy. That's too easy to prove. Okay? It's too easy to prove. That doesn't even need argument. Okay? Because we can demonstrate that. That's not something I'm pulling out of the air. And so Killer Cuddles, US is governed by corporatism. No, it's actually the opposite way around. The United States, as of 1789, is actually the government of the corporation named as the United States of America. We will talk more on that. I'll have the receipts and everything to back that my assertions up, as I usually do on Sunday at 10 a.m. or excuse me, did I say 10 a.m.? It's either 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Just follow whatever I put in the Telegram over at A6 Grind Time. I think I usually do 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on Sundays. Let me look at the comment section here. Thank you all for being here, by the way. Appreciate it. All right, so Bishop MacBone, welcome. Thank you for being here. A sovereign has self-control, a citizen does not. All right. Malik, the sovereign. Okay. So a sovereign has self-control, a citizen does not. Let's clarify. I don't disagree with you. There's no reason to disagree with you there. Only thing I would say, I'll go a step further and say about citizens. A citizen, if you look at the Black's Law Dictionary, 5th edition definition, it basically says that it is a subject. Okay, it is a member. Okay, that's what the citizen is. A member of a particular type of community known as a political community. That's what a citizen is. Okay. Now, it is perpetrated to be a disfavored situation to be in. I'm not going to go against that. It can be a disfavored place to be in, okay, but only if you suffer a civil death, meaning you committed a heinous crime or what have you, and they strip you of what are known as your civil or political rights. That's called a civilatur mortuus, or a civil death. Then you end up in jail, prison, fines, they take your property, whatever, right? So yeah, then it becomes a very disfavorable position to be in, to be called a citizen or a subject, basically, to the king. That's what a citizen is. But it's a listen, it's a subject, okay, to a political community. Now, what is a political community? Look at the Black's Law definition, the 5th edition definition of citizenship. Okay, a member of a political community. Okay, a political community, if you look up the legal definition of jural society, you'll see that a jural society is synonymous with state, STATE. Okay, look up the legal definition of jural society or jural, and it'll come up on the bottom of that definition. It'll say state. Okay, it's synonymous with state. All right, so that also, a state is also known as a political community. Okay, it is a community that takes its existence by the people that it governs over. Okay, or the citizenship that it governs over. Okay, now what's very key and very important is to make the distinction. Here's where we didn't really get to yesterday, but where perhaps my opponent would have actually agreed with me, but we didn't go this far. I do believe that the citizen is separate and distinct from you. Let me repeat that. I do, however, teach, believe, instruct, and have evidence that the entity known as the legal entity, the citizen, is separate and distinct from you as a human being. I have proven that. I can demonstrate that hands down. I will debate that with anybody, and I will let the facts do the talking. All right, because that is fact. Okay, so if you look at citizenship as being disfavorable to you, then it's perhaps because you have not come to the light and understanding that it is not actually you, that you are not the legal entity. You are a natural or a single human entity. You are not a citizen as in a legal entity. Okay, and so with that being said, why would you look at citizenship with disdain when it should not be named as you in the first place? It's supposed to provide you a limited liability type of status, and it's supposed to take on its own identity, as we talked about earlier. It's supposed to take on its own identity, and it's supposed to handle its own liabilities. It's supposed to provide you limited liability protections, certain immunities. Why do you think the 14th Amendment talks about privileges and immunities? That's why. The 14th Amendment afforded you a separate entity that would give you limited liability in the eyes of the law. That's what it is. And so again, Bishop MacBone, a sovereign has self-control, no doubt. A citizen does not. Well, a citizen doesn't have any control. A citizen doesn't have any control because a citizen is an inanimate object. It is a spirit. It is a ghost. It is a legal or commercial entity. It's not a sentient being. You provide its energy and power as the human. It can't do anything of its own accord. That's why you have the power to use the legal name to sign on its behalf. You are the one that brings contracts to life. You are the one that makes promissory notes and other financial documentation. You are the one that gives it life through your signature. But what signature are you signing? You are signing the signature of the legal entity. It's known as the legal name. All right, moving on. Bishop MacBone says at A6 Grind Time at KnowledgeWell Media. What's up, y'all? Okay, very good. Bishop MacBone said the system is made for winners. Winners don't complain about the system. They use the system to win. My sentiments exactly. We don't have to complain. Again, Donald Trump is not complaining about the system. And when the people of the United States are complaining and saying, show us your taxes, he's laughing himself to the bank because he already knows the rules to the game. I don't have to disclose the private information of my corporate personhood. It's not me, so therefore you can't hold me liable. Hold it liable. See, that's how you play the game. What did Rockefeller say? Now you can clearly see why Rockefeller said, own nothing, control everything. That's why. What do you think the saying is there for? What do you think it meant? Because I don't own it. The entity owns it. Okay? So that's what's going on. Bishop MacBone says, fiction, a state entity or corporate entity created outside the totality of circumstances. Okay, all right. I can get with that. I can get with that. Listen, y'all. Listen, y'all. We have the answers. We're right there. It's just that time in history. Everything's being revealed. Okay? Now is not the time to be at each other's throat, arguing over stuff that's really trivial. Okay? Now is not that time. We got the answers. We need to just go on and walk on through the door. Killer Cuddle says corporate lobbyists leverage law. Corporate lobbyists leverage law. No, I mean, you know what? I did a study on this. You know what they actually do? Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong, but what actually happens is people like Rockefeller and the Clintons and whatever, you know what they do? They have so much power and influence that they're able to basically run tests on the system. And what they do is they implement new ways of looking at things or new way of doing things. And then what happens is they test it out and try it out before there's regulation. Why would they do that? Why do you think they do that? Because this, just like Tesla, if you're the first to do something in a particular society, plus you're a multi-billionaire, prior to there being any regulation, then you can get in, become wildly successful, make huge profits without any governmental oversight. You're the first doing it. There is no regulation yet. That's how the wealthy get wealthy or stay wealthy and become even more wealthy, because they have the scientists, they have the philosophers, they have the mathematicians, all of that. And they're able to create new things and try them out in society. And it sticks around until people start to complain about it. But guess what? The people don't even get wind of it till, 10 years down the road. By then, these pioneers have already amassed billions of dollars. So by the time heavy governmental regulation comes down the pike, it's too late. They'll be like, the government will come in and act like they're going to shut them down. And they'll be like, oh, okay, shut us down. Shoot, I've already made $1 billion off of this thing that I introduced that there was no regulation for. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? That's the wealthy man's game. Get in and get out before governmental regulation even kicks in. That's the game. Killer Cuddle says various corporations run United States. This is why classism is becoming more of an issue. Again, I will agree with lobbyists. Okay, Rockefeller was a big lobbyist. He was a Republican, and he was a big lobbyist. And that's how he got the Standard Oil Company and the first trust accomplished prior to there being the Clayton Antitrust Act and all those, the Sherman Antitrust Act and all that kind of stuff. The Clayton Act, okay, that basically he was able to form monopolies before it was illegal to form monopolies. That's what he did. Okay, genius. 8 years became. You talk about wealth. Yeah, you still hearing about his wealth today because that's what they did. They got in and out. And so I'll somewhat agree with you. It scratched one of the politicians back. But again, I said the system is not inherently evil. It's the people in the system, right? So what you got to do is vote those people out. You got to, basically let government know that the people are not accepting monopolies and all this kind of stuff, and that they need to dissolve that company and all this kind of stuff because this wealthy individual is cornering the market, and there's not fair competition now and all this kind of stuff. That's what the Clayton Act and the Sherman, the Sherman Antitrust Act and all that was. That's what it was for. Okay. So again, but that's the democratic process, proving that the system does in fact work. But the people have to get off the couch, stop watching Monday Night Football or whatever it is, and actually get active and involved. Now, I used to be anti voting and political and all that kind of stuff, right? Because I particularly don't like all the games. I don't like the games. I don't like, politics by definition is the science of government. Science is the study of something, and government is to control the mind or the head. So that's all you're doing. People are running studies on you to see what makes you tick. That's all that's happening. So I didn't want to be a part of that. But as a game, when I'm big in corporate America and I'm running industries and all that kind of stuff, hell, I got to get involved in that, right? Because I'm not going to let somebody else corner the market or promote unfair trade practices because I have an interest now in big corporate America. I'm running big businesses. So, yes, I'm going to lobby. I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to scratch people's back. I'm going to have special dinners for certain politicians. That's the game. Again, the system works. Don't hate the system. The players in the game are the problem, not the system. That's all I'm trying to say. When you learn this game and learn how to play it the correct way, you'll find that it works. And that's what was changing for me. It really is. It really is. I'm not just jacking about that. I'm serious. Okay. It works if you know how to work it. And even my opponent from last night, in his admission, talking about trusts. That's learning how to work the system within the system. My point exactly. Moving forward. Bishop Mac Bone, learning the laws, codes, and regulations is like learning the rules of chess. Opening game, yeah, middle game, very good. The end game is becoming a sovereign, aka foreign national. Uh, okay. I agree with you in part, and I disagree, not strongly. Okay, but in the eyes of this system, whether you care or not, the only leverage you're going to have is if you bring a legally protectable interest to the court for adjudication or declaration or declaratory judgment. They're never going to recognize you as a sovereign. Never in a million years They're not. Okay. So, they say, you catch more bees with honey or something to that effect. If we already know that the sovereign movement and all that kind of stuff is kind of a losing battle, it hasn't really gotten us anywhere. In fact, it's made an occasion for them to vilify, people that are in search of truth and call you all kinds of sovereign citizens and all that. So why we should just stay away from there. If you're sovereign, be sovereign in your mind, right? In your heart, be sovereign in your mind and in your heart. But the system is not going to recognize you as sovereign, and it's only going to give you more problems than it's worth. And believe me, I'm only talking from experience. I admit I tried all of that stuff. Okay, hold on. I'm not afraid to admit I tried all of that thing. All that stuff. I've done all of that. I got the documents. I got the declarations, the affidavits of truth, affidavits of sovereignty. I've done all that. Submitted it in courts. I've done the whole gamut of that. That's why I'm so sure about what I'm talking about. It did not get me anywhere, anywhere. And I still don't have. I challenge people all the time when they come with the sovereign stuff or the sovereign type of mindset, and they say that they use that in courts and they've got recognition and things thrown out. Okay. All I'm saying is I'm just challenging it because I still have yet to see any evidence and proof of that. I don't care who it is, from the top guru to the bottom. No one has demonstrated any success with that. Now, if you're going to tell me, hear me out. If you're going to tell me that you're basing your evidence and proof that this anti-state, sovereign, untouchable, immune, passport, all this. You're going to tell me that works because you got pulled over one time or two times and the police let you go, and that you're saying that that's your evidence that this stuff works? Listen, I've been on both sides of that. I've been there when a cop has refused to interact with me because he or she did not want to even deal with me. Not because what I said and what I was declaring was truth, but because you're one of those. I don't got time for this. As long as you ain't breaking a law, you didn't murder somebody, you didn't kill somebody. I don't have any time to deal with this mess. Go on about your way. That's what I got. I've refused to give IDs and do all this kind of stuff. I had my own plates on the back that I created, my trust plates and all that kind of stuff. I've done all of that. You don't believe me? You can ask somebody. Ask Bad Wolf. He'll tell you. Okay? I've done all that, but it does not work, is what I'm saying. All right. BB Productions says, question everything. Absolutely. Killer Cuddlers, left wing, right wing, one beast. Yes, absolutely. The system allows and encourages the players. It does. They want you to have a seat at the table. They want you, all they're saying is just play the game the correct way. That's what they're saying. I assure you of that. And this is why, again, my opponent yesterday had to even testify himself that sometimes the judges will actually congratulate you when you do a good job in court. When you play within the rules, they will congratulate you. How many of you experienced that? Where an attorney or the judge says, you know what, you represented yourself really good, really well, very good job. We can't dismiss, whatever. We can't give you a win per se, but we just want to let you know you did a great job representing yourself, because it's a breath of fresh air to them. Because you know how many cuckoos they got coming in there every day that don't know the law, don't know their rights, but make a fuss like a ward does, like a baby, a ward, an infant. That's what they do when they can't get their way. Remember, we are in a trust scenario, meaning every citizen is looked at as a ward of the state. It's a trust. And those type of beneficiaries of those trusts are called trust fund babies, right? And who likes a trust fund baby? Spoiled brat, right? Nobody does. So neither does the judge. So when you come in there and you are legally competent and can aver and declare your rights and follow civil procedure, you're going to get kudos. I assure you of that. And that's all I'm trying to encourage. I'm trying to encourage right knowledge, right application, and right information. Do it the right way, and you'll start to respect the system for what it was designed to do, what it is designed to be, because it works. I assure you of that. I assure you of that. Killer Cuddle says, you say these players in the system are the problem? Well, yeah, it can't be the system. The system is run by people. The system is an inanimate object. It's not an animate object. It's not alive. So it's got to be the people behind the system that are the problem. Some people say George Soros. Some people say Bill Gates. The people behind the system, behind the door, that are pulling the levers and the strings. That would be the problem, not the system itself. Bishop MacBone says, even sovereigns use the system to win. Owners use their property to achieve goals and objectives. I agree. I have no problem with that. I agree. Oh, sovereignty is not a movement. It's a state of mind, condition, and being. Okay. I have no problem with that. All I'm saying is, let's not vilify the system that is in place. It has worked for over 200 something years, and people have amassed much wealth in this system, and you can too. The only problem is that you have been disenfranchised for a long time, and if you happen to look like me and be my color, you did not always have the liberties that you have and are afforded today. So you're working from a bit of a deficit, and this is what is causing um, people to be, upset, because they're like, I got to work 10 times as hard because I got to come out of the negative that I was in because of the color of my skin. But that, hey, from what I know, it only makes you stronger. It only makes you stronger. It only makes you stronger. Bishop MacBone says the foundation of sovereignty, okay, is self-awareness, self-reflection, and self-control. All right. Bishop MacBone said, exactly. You've been congratulated by several judges, right? But let me ask you a question. Were you in there talking about I'm a sovereign citizen, you don't have jurisdiction over me, that type of thing? Or were you using civil procedure and the correct processes to get your point across, and were averring and declaring your rights, right? You were doing that, probably, because the sovereign citizen thing doesn't work. The declaration of a sovereign citizen just doesn't work. They can't even recognize it because it's not recognized by American jurisprudence. There is no legally protectable interest for your claim that you are a sovereign and that they have no jurisdiction over you. There's no legally protectable interest, meaning there isn't a law on the books that will back that. That's what it means. Okay. But Bishop MacBone says the agenda of the state is to maintain the fictional laws and codes of commerce and the currency of commerce. Okay, the agenda of the state is to maintain the fictional laws, and of course, I'll agree to that 100%, 150%. Of course, the system is set up to be self-preserving at all cost. Yes, it's a political community. It's looking out for the interest of the community that is aligned with it. If you ain't one of my children, I love humans, but if you ain't one of my children, today I really don't. Your interests are not my concern. If you ain't one of my children, right? You concerned about yours and your household under your community. Okay. So is the system, the state. It is concerned. The politicians, the state workers, the civil servants, et cetera, are there for the interest of the state in which they are serving, not every other state in the union. That's why it remains sovereign and independent. And it's only taking care of its little birdies, its babies. And that the babies for the state in which you reside are its citizens. because the state birthed the citizen. Citizens are a creature of the state in which they reside, meaning they were created by the state in which you reside. So it cares for its babies, its citizens. Killer Cuddle says, I don't give a fuck about receiving kudos from lying judge, corrupt, or prosecutors. Well, I mean, I understand your sentiment, and there are lying politicians, attorneys. We lie. Everybody lies, right? At some point in time, you've told a lie, a fib, whatever, to manipulate, to deceive, to misrepresent, or whatever for your own interest. So none, what did the scriptures say? He or she that is without sin cast the first stone. All right. So why would we expect that there will never be a lying judge or corrupt cop or prosecutor? I mean, that's kind of the collateral damage of a system, right? You can't expect that there's going to be 100% honesty and integrity. You always got to allot for those corrupt individuals, right? You just have a system in place to deal with them when they're caught. That's what you do. But for the most part, let me just ask you this. For the most part, Killer Cuddles, do you think that there's more evil or more good? Let me just caution you. If you believe that there is more evil than good, then yes, the people as a whole need to collapse the complete system and start all over again, like the Constitution gives us the power to do. But I don't believe that. I believe that if the system or the people were more evil than good, we would have a complete totalitarian style government. You would not be even on here right now. And this would not be a free platform for me to express freely upon if our government was filled with completely tyrannical and seditious individual. So that cannot be true. That it's mostly evil, bad, whatever. It can't be. Can't be true. Lance Mitchell says, foreign grantors trust. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? I do specialize in trusts. What do you want to know? It's not what it's cracked up to be, you guys. I know my opponent, is was saying something to the effect of using a foreign trust to forego the jurisdiction of the state or the U.S. or whatever. It does not work like that. It doesn't work like that. Okay. It probably, most importantly, doesn't work like that for the little people. I'll just say, unless you're doing billions of dollars and have offshore accounts and you establish a foreign trust and you got somebody administering it and whatever, that's a whole different ball game. For the average individuals like us, right? Why would you need a foreign trust to escape a statute? That makes no sense. Don't you want to do commerce? Tell me what business, industry, bank is going to accept your foreign trust so that you can put your money away or gain interest on it, build a credit score. It's not going to happen. Show me anybody. Bring them forward. Bring them forward. Show me anybody that so-called got a foreign trust, established a banking system, and is successfully running this foreign trust on U.S. soil, mind you. Because anytime that you have any interaction with what is called U.S. sourced income, you're still going to pay taxes. Foreigners pay taxes anytime that they have to deal with U.S. source or U.S. based income. That means you may be foreign. We'll give you a foreign EIN, a 98 number, or whatever. I've been through all of that. We'll give you a 98 number, but you find a bank that will let you set up an account with a foreign EIN number in the U.S. Let me know. Let me know how that works for you. Bishop McMahon says, I talked about my understanding of commerce being controlled by fictional interests of the state. All right, I think I'm done here. Let me take these gloves off. I got glue all over my hands. And we're just gonna toss that. Give me one moment. I'm gonna read that again. So I'll just say this. On Sunday, I'm going to talk about remedy, because we can do this all day, but really what the people should be wanting is remedy. Okay? We can go back and forth all day. We can make entertaining engagements and arguments and whatever. We could do that. But in the end, I want to help people. Okay? That's really my goal. Not to show you how big my brain is and my capacity to learn. That's not the point. The point is to provide remedy. Okay, so Sunday we will be talking about the remedy. Okay, right now we're just conversating, making clarifications on some things, and while I was doing some work here on the boat. But on Sunday, we make no mistake about it, we will be talking remedy. So let people know, send your invites and shares and what have you. Please also give thumbs up if you appreciate the information, or at least appreciate the time that we're putting forth here today. I greatly appreciate that. All right. So, Bishop McBone, I talked about my understanding of commerce being controlled by fictional interests of the state. Your understanding of commerce is being controlled by fictional interests of the state. But your understanding should be derived from your own research and study. And so I don't know. I mean, they shouldn't be able to control that. I found a lot of books on commerce and whatever from various sources, even at the Goodwill for 89 cents. I found some books that were $150 probably in their prime. Nobody can control my access to information. Not anymore. I mean, they used to burn books. They used to put us in jail for studying, for reading the Bible, et cetera, et cetera. But we don't have that problem anymore. So maybe I'm reading your question wrong. You can clarify a little bit deeper if you feel like it, Bishop Matt. Killer Cuddle says, cop arrests me illegally. Judge lied on the record in the case against me. I haven't lied once. Okay. Again, if you run upon that 1%, 2%, maybe 5%, I'm not saying that there's not corrupt officers out there. Well, obviously we see live, people getting shot and killed without arm, So I'm with you. I'm with you. And there are ways to deal with that, though. A lot of times I'm finding that people, when they have these type of situations perpetrated upon them, they just don't know what their remedy is. They don't know what the next move is. Do you know how to make a complaint at the bar level? Do you know that the bar members have a standard of conduct, a rule that they have to abide by, or they'll be disbarred? Do you know that? That incorporates the judge, that incorporates the district attorney, assistant attorneys, all that kind of stuff. They have to abide by those bar standards of conduct. So if they're not, report them, complain. Remember, they have a bond. They have a bond. Okay, so use it to your advantage. Okay. Killer Cuddles. Okay, so it's your understanding that there's much more evil in the society or in our system than there is good. I'm sorry that you feel that way. I mean, that would be a hopeless sentiment and belief. Okay, I don't share that with you, and I don't think most people do. If they do, I'm sorry to hear that. I have great faith in the system, actually, and that's only grown. I was extreme the other way before, mind you. I was very extreme the other way. You couldn't tell me anything about this system. Believe that. I preached on it. I've taught it. Go back in my archives. You'll see where I was at. Bishop Mac Bone says, I am the fictional advocate representing the fictional state property known as Bishop Mac Bone. Okay. Okay, so let me just give you a little secret on that. Okay, this is something I've just recently learned and started to actually employ. If you can't find any law backing up the terminologies you're using when you express that to the American jurisprudence, the law systems and whatever, they're not going to oblige. They're going to simply write you off. So I would say just find a way to take those words, those terms that you use there, to substitute those for what you can back up in the law, and you're going to be A-okay. The judge will actually acknowledge you. Whereas if you start talking things that are reminiscent of sovereign citizen, according to the Seventh Circuit, listen, they are now telling the judges, if you see anything remotely similar to this type of vernacular articulation expression in their documentation, to merely throw it away. They're not even going to read it. You go before a judge and you sound anything remotely similar to what the Seventh Circuit has deemed sovereign citizen type of theology or ideology, you're not even going to get in the door anymore. Believe me on that. Lance Mitchell, do you recommend? I do not recommend a foreign grantor's trust. I do not. I recommend you get your regular old trust. That's it. And learn how to deal with that. Learn how to walk before you start trying to run, is what I'm saying. Have we even learned how to operate, administer the basic trust? Why would we jump to this super convoluted or ambiguous or very complicated structure of a trust when most of us have never even used a simple trust yet? Do you see? That's nowhere in educational systems or what academia period is that a great way to learn thing or to apply something, right? To jump over the simplistic beginnings of trust for something super complicated, foreign, that the government is very much scrutinizing, calling people on the carpet for fraudulent filings and documentations and all that kind of stuff. Why would we want to jump over into that until we get the basic fundamentals of what a trust is? I would recommend you get yourself a basic trust. We can educate you on that if you're interested in that. Definitely just express in the comment section here or go to our email, and we can definitely help you out with that. Again, and then I would start by asking, why do you want to trust? You see what I'm saying? Because do you know that using certain commercial and legal entities, you can accomplish a lot of the same things by you having a particular role in a corporation that you have established as the director or an owner or a COO or whatever. You're in a trust-like capacity. You're acting in a trust-like capacity. What's the difference between a trustee and the president of a corporation? What's the difference? You're still holding the assets of the company in trust, aren't you? So again, everyone's situation circumstances are going to be unique, and that's why we encourage everybody first, before you try anything, just have a consultation. Let's pick your mind, see what your aspirations and goals are. Let's not try and jump into the pool of sharks and make everything complicated. Then you find out that you paid $15,000 for a process that it wasn't really what you were looking for, or you just don't know how to use it. Let's stop all that. Bishop McBone, the court system is a stage production, a theater, which is the formal and ostentatious presentation of fictional interest shown to a live audience. I mean, I can go with that. I don't have a problem with that. I definitely don't have a problem with that. Oh, I've been up on the ladder this whole time, y'all. I'm sore. Nice little boats. So we're patching up the boat. You can see up there. Got to get her seaworthy. This one's bigger. That one's bigger. Some big ones. I'm surrounded by ships. Anyways. I am. All right. Let me see who else is talking. BB Production says, Foreign grantor trust. U.S. banks don't want to work with them because generally they're looked at as fraudulent tax evasion tactics. Told you. BB Product saying this from firsthand experience. Bishop McBone, I mean, by doing my research, I understand how they use fictional entities to control the fictional use of commerce. Okay. I mean, by doing my research, I understand how they use fictional entities to control the fictional use of commerce. Okay. I'm with that. Marcavelli's in the house. All right. Welcome back. Good to see you. You lost me now? Am I not? Can anybody hear or see me? So Bishop McBone, so use that which is actually validated by law and the language of law. That is what I'm saying. If you don't take anything else from here, let's stop with all the ideologies that are not founded in law because it's causing us injury. I'm going to tell you something. You take it for what it is, okay? You're hearing it here. 95 to 98% of what you are getting as a lesson on YouTube are grandiose ideas of someone who has read a couple books and have scanned through many more YouTube stations, okay? And essentially from there, they've taken it and run with it. And they did not bother to make sure that there is law, statutory, constitutional, federal, whatever, to back up what idea they came up with. That's why you're hearing 100,000 different ideologies when it comes to this thing called truth seeking, is because everybody wants to patent their own way of doing things. You cannot come into the extant American jurisprudence system with your ideologies, a system that has been around for 250 plus years, a system that was written, designed by founding fathers. You can't come in here thinking, I got a new way of doing this. It will never be honored because the judicial branch cannot violate the separation of powers. Therefore, they cannot create law. When you go to court and try to aver something that is not under the jurisdiction of the judicial branch, they're not going to go along with you in creating new law. They are not lawmakers. And that's why they kick you out of court and call you a sovereign citizen. Because what you're attempting to do is to have them rewrite law by your assertion that you are sovereign, that the state has no jurisdiction over me. That's what you're doing. If the judge was to go along with what you are saying, then they would essentially be rewriting the law. And they cannot do that. You're wasting your time. You heard it here first. All right, okay, I'm back. All right, very good. I was out. Okay, 20-second freeze. All right, so we're gonna end up. Bishop McBone says, "KnowledgeWell, you remind me of a highly distinguished professor of communication that I met at UCA, University of Central Arkansas, 30 years ago." Oh, that is a very complimentary thing you just said there, McBone. I really appreciate that. To be compared to somebody, I think you revere them, but thank you very much. That's the nicest thing somebody said to me in a long time. Thank you for that. BB Productions Studio. If you can't find it in law or case law, it is unproven conjecture or assumed. This is why I always say prove it. Absolutely, 100%. If you cannot find, listen, I'm saying legally protectable interest. You're going to hear me say that a lot. That is what BB Productions is saying. If it's not written already, this system is already extant. The books are written. The process is called the civil procedure. There is a manual. Therefore, you cannot just come introducing your own way. You can't. The system is a closed system. There's already ways to do what you are trying to accomplish, but you must do it in accordance with civil procedure. You must use the terminologies as codified and enacted. You cannot come up with your own phrases and terms. You will label yourself as a sovereign citizen because they will say you are outside of the purview of the American jurisprudence. We don't even hear or recognize what you are saying, what your assertion is, what you are claiming. They can't because there's the separation of powers. They cannot recognize it. All right. And we got Bishop McBone saying even patents are made by the law and language of my man. My man. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. There is a process and a procedure to this. You can win at this game called life if you learn how to play the game the correct way. I don't care how you dress. I don't care what your skin color is today. I don't care what church or what background you came from. If you play this game in accordance with the rules, get better at it than they are, you will win. You will win. Okay? All right, with that being said, I really appreciate everybody who took the time to stop on by. We've been on for an hour and 15 minutes and 55 seconds, and we will be right back at you Sunday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. You don't want to miss that. I'm going to lay down the law, the facts, the legally protectable interests that will actually work for you, and we will discuss remedy. All right. With that being said, now you've been made free. The question is, what are you going to do with it? All right. Love you all. Thank you all for taking part in our debate last night. More to come. If you have somebody that wants to debate that what I outlined for you on Sunday, feel free to bring them on. I'm always up for a debate. I'm not up for an argument. Last night was an argument. I'm not up for that because it does not help the people. I'm here to help the people. If you got a problem with that, then you got a problem with me. All right. Debate. I'm not going to argue. All right. So with that being said, thank you all and have a great day. Make it a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Start your journey today by liking, subscribing, and sharing our YouTube channel, KnowledgeWell Media, or by going to our Square site at knowledgewell-media.square.site and perusing over the available content and information. Also by submitting your email at the bottom of the Square site page in the Stay in the Loop section to receive priority information, specials, and other insider details. Or by signing up for a 1-hour consultation to tailor your specific educational needs in beginning your journey. You may do so at the aforementioned Square site, once again at knowledgewell-media.square.site.